Greetings, good people, and a very warm welcome to you all. So, on the last Rolex episode, I was accused of being a roller-phobe by someone. I won't say who.
Yeah, that was me, you roller-phobe.
Just because I don't feature a Rolex on the channel every week doesn't make me a roller-phobe. Anyway, I thought I'd make him eat his own words by doing another Rollie this week. It's a solid 18-karat gold Cellini, but it's got a battery inside it.
Say what?
The Cellini is a dress watch range from Rolex, created for both men and women. It was another marketing master plan in the 1960s to create a new breed of humanoid called the Rolex collector, and the idea that a person should have more than one watch for different occasions. You can imagine back in those days, if you owned one watch, then that watch would be on the wrist for everything. So to supplant this idea that you should have an everyday beater and a dress watch may seem trivial now, but the seed had to be planted. It may sound like an oxymoron, but yes, even Rolex do quartz watches.
No, it's oxymoron actually.
Okay, Mr. Collins Dictionary. Now this circuit should just come right off without any resistance, but it's giving me some grief, and there's something sticky going on, and I can see that that trimmer condenser is loose. This one did have a complaint of either losing hours per day or it was working intermittently, so it appeared to lose hours per day. And even though the watch looks almost new, some cheeky tinkerer got his or her mischievous little hands on it at some point, then kicked it down the road as a spares or repairs. But even if it's a quartz, you can see the lovely detailing on wherever Rolex could find amidst the circuits and coils to put some Geneva stripes and perlage work. Now look at this. This is either barbarism or just downright cheeky. Someone's used some spit or some snot to put this trimmer condenser back on, so that probably explains partially why the watch was having some timekeeping issues. The trimmer condenser on a quartz watch is used to regulate the watch, so if it's running too fast or too slow, it can be adjusted using a little screwdriver. So this part will need soldering, and I've also decided to strip it, clean it and oil it for good measure. Now on closer inspection, I realized that they had actually used some sticky dial dots to stick these things back together. Obviously this is not a conductive material, so they were just hoping that gravity and lady luck would keep the contact points of the condenser and the circuit in contact somehow. Now, there are no pills or medication for this sort of tinkering behavior, so we're just gonna have to take a big deep breath and just sigh while shaking our head and planting the palm of our hands on our forehead. Whoever did this, I want to see you in my office after class, okay? You can tell from the quality of the video and the single top-down shot that in my heart I never had the intention of making a video on this watch, as there was no casework or any dramatic restoration to be done. But for some reason, I just thought I'd point the camera at it and shoot, like there was a voice in my head that just said, record it.
Yeah, that was mine. I testify.
Good job I did, as now I have some soldering to do, and it may help some of you out there looking to service a quartz Rolex movement. Maybe I should listen to the voice in my head more often. So, now that I've got all the electronics, circuitry and coils off, you can see how much detailing has gone into this undesirable abomination. Not my words. So this is a simple movement with just an hour and minute hand, and is a caliber 6620. The 6620 was first introduced in 1987 and was in production until 2015 when Rolex finally stopped producing quartz watches. So as with all things discontinued Rolex, there will come a day when collectors go mad for a quartz Rolex as they become more rare and fewer in number, especially if the tinkerer who worked on this gets their hands on a few more Rolex Cellinis. So now that I have the movement stripped down, I'll stick the parts in the wash, except the coil, circuit and step rotor. I'll clean the step rotor separate, as this is magnetic and can end up attracting all sorts of metallic particles if put into the cleaning machine. And whilst all that is getting cleaned, I'll try and fix that trimmer back onto the circuit board. Now I'm no expert in soldering, neither am I a novice. I'm sort of the guy who makes the coffee for the novice, sort of in that category. So no laughing at my soldering, okay? Now my normal soldering iron for this tiny little part would feel like a shipyard welding machine. So I've got this little portable one, but even with this, the tip is too big. So I'll file down a bit of copper wire, which I pulled out from some electric lighting cable, and I'll wrap that around the soldering iron. There you go. It's no Turner Prize winning Anish Kapoor, but it looks better than his Olympic Tower orbit thingy. Anyone remember that? I'll then tin up the tip and use some flux or soldering paste. My solder is also too thick, so I shave some slim pieces off with a knife. I then secure one end of the trimmer with some clamping tweezers so it doesn't move about. And I'm using a heat-proof mat here. I apply the flux to the contact points on the board where the ends of the trimmer need to be soldered onto, so hopefully when the solder melts, it should be sucked into only these spots. Okay, I need silence for this bit. I think that piece got sucked right underneath, and I tested it to see if it was secure. I then did the other half and didn't need to clamp it down as the other end was secure. And that's it. Dog's dinner done. So I'm just cleaning the step rotor with some pithwood and Rodico to make sure no metal fragments have been attracted to the magnet, and we can start assembling this thing. I start with this battery clamp which slides over the battery to hold it in place. So I'll just put some lubrication here as it will slide beneath this screw. Then goes in the battery bridle, followed by the stator and the brake for the rotor. Then in goes the train, including the step rotor. I use some quartz oil here, and then I lubricate and install the setting lever screw. In goes the coil and the circuit board or electronic module as it's known. And then I can put the cover bridge on, which is finished beautifully with those Geneva stripes. The magnetic screen is also finished with Geneva stripes, and it's cool how the stripes all line up on the train bridge, magnetic screen and module bridge. And that's it. We go on to the other side. Now I do a bit of oiling and we can install the sliding pinion and the stem. This is the lever for the rotor brake, which is followed by the setting lever. Now I install the yoke, followed by its spring. I oil up the posts and install the setting wheel and minute wheel. Now I put on the keyless cover, or the jumper for the setting lever as it's known. Do a bit more oiling and install the cannon pinion, followed by the hour wheel. Now I just stick the battery isolator in and try in a fresh new battery and we can test it. And that's the end of that really. Easy, wasn't it? The movement should tick once every 10 seconds, so I'll speed it up. I don't have a quartz beat tester, so I've tested the accuracy and regulated it the good old-fashioned way by timing it with my radio-controlled clock, and it's very precise. So I hope you enjoyed this quick and easy one, and now I'm going to see someone in my office. Where did I put my cane?